How do we cultivate flow states in our daily life? Well, the best thing to do is to have a plan. Have a daily ritual where you have peak experiences every day, flow experiences every day. Everyone can go out and walk in nature every day. So there's one way of doing it. Going to see performing arts is another way of doing it. Listening to music is another way of doing it. Dancing is another way of getting into flow states. If I'm working with a client, I sometimes use things like meditations, especially hypnotic states. Use hypnosis and take somebody back to an early experience that they've had in the past, where they've actually experienced one of these flow states or something that happened in their life that they would classify as great. So when I started working with elite athletes, that's exactly what I would do. One of my first athletes I worked with was a guy called Darren Clarke, and you all probably know him as one of our best golfers in the last 2 decades. Now, Darren came to me because he wasn't having a great performance and he hadn't really won anything for 3 years. So I started working with him and I asked him that question: tell me the greatest game that you ever had. And he said, well, that's easy. I beat Tiger Woods at Wentworth in the World Match Play. And I said to him, okay, well, can you tell me something about that? So he basically told me about the experience. He told me everything he felt, everything he was thinking on the golf course, and most of the shots he could remember. After telling the story, I asked him how he felt, and he said, well, I feel great now. And I says, well, why aren't you doing this on the golf course? So one of the things I get athletes to do on the golf course is go back to an experience that they've had with that particular golf club. I get them to think about the greatest shot they've ever had. And when I did this with Darren, he went out and shot a 65 the next day. He then went on to win the tournament. And that's really how I ended up on the golf tour, because Darren asked me to work with him for the rest of that year. And it was all because I was helping him get into the flow experiences, which he actually knew was synonymous with his best performances. We all have that magic inside of us, but very rarely do we tap into it. How many times do you really tap into the great things that have happened into your life? Do you ever meditate on that every day? And if you do meditate on that every day, you can become a superpower. You can have these experiences every day if you tap into them. Your memory is a fantastic source of peak experiences. How often do you actually go there? You need to make this into your daily ritual. So I get people to meditate on their greatest things that have happened to them. This is where their strengths are. This is where their positive emotions are. And this is where their superpower is. And if you want to be a superpower, you have to keep reminding yourself every day of the great things that you've done. And these will manifest again in the future. History repeats itself.